Success stories are everywhere: big names, flashing lights, front-page features. But what about the people who rose from nothing with no spotlight to follow them? The ones who didn't just climb the ladder but built it from scratch. These are the unsung heroes of hustle, the masters of perseverance, and the champions of grit. Today, we uncover the most inspiring rags-to-riches stories you've probably never heard of but definitely should. But before we dive in, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on our upcoming videos. Now, let's get started. Number 10. From glass factory worker to global entrepreneur, Kalpana Saroj. Born into a Dalit family, Kalpana Saroj's life was marked by caste discrimination, poverty, and societal pressure. Married off at the age of 12 and abused by her husband's family, she escaped back to her parents' house. But life didn't get easier. At 16, she attempted suicide. But somehow, she survived and something in her changed. She began working at a garment factory and saved every rupee she could. With a government loan for scheduled castes, she started a small tailoring business, then a furniture store. But that was just the beginning. Kalpana went on to revive a struggling company, Kamani Tubes. Everyone thought it was a lost cause. She turned it into a profitable multi-million-dollar business. Today, she's called the original Slumdog Millionaire, not because of luck, but because of sheer determination. Number 9. The orphan who conquered Hollywood, Tyler Perry. You may have seen his movies, but not everyone knows the depths of Tyler Perry's backstory. Born in New Orleans, Perry suffered physical and emotional abuse from his father. At a young age, he began writing as a form of therapy. He changed his name legally to distance himself from his father and started pursuing theater. For years, his plays were rejected, poorly attended, and financially draining. He was homeless at one point, living in his car. But he never gave up. After several failed attempts, one of his plays finally clicked with audiences. That was the turning point. Today, Tyler Perry owns one of the largest film studios in the US, employs thousands, and remains a voice for the underrepresented. From homeless to Hollywood mogul, his story is nothing short of epic. Number 8. The Zimbabwean goat herder who became a neuroscientist, Dr. Tararai Trent. In a remote village in Zimbabwe, a young girl named Tararai Trent herded cattle and goats and was told that education was not for girls. She was married off by the time she was a teenager and became a mother of 5 before she turned 18. But Tararai had a dream. She secretly wrote down her goals: go to America, get a degree, and help others, and buried the paper in a tin can under a rock. Years later, with the support of an NGO, she moved to the US with her children. She worked tirelessly, studied harder, and eventually earned her PhD in interdisciplinary evaluation. Today, Dr. Trent is a global leader in education and women's empowerment. Oprah Winfrey even called her the most inspiring woman in the world. Number 7. From selling peanuts on the street to building a tech empire, Do-Won Chang. If you've ever shopped at Forever 21, you've seen his legacy. Do-Won Chang was born in South Korea and immigrated to the US in 1981. He worked multiple jobs: janitor, gas station clerk, coffee shop server, just to make ends meet. With his wife, Jin Suk, they saved enough to open a small clothing store in Los Angeles. They called it Fashion 21. What started as a 900-square-foot store catering to the Korean American community exploded into a global fashion powerhouse, Forever 21. Despite facing financial hurdles and fierce industry competition, their faith and persistence led them to create a brand that, at its peak, generated over $4 billion annually. Do-Won Chang's story is one of relentless belief and a refusal to settle for less. Number 6. The boy who lived in a refugee camp, William Kankwamba. In Malawi, a young boy named William Kankwamba grew up in a village where famine and poverty were part of daily life. His family couldn't afford to keep him in school, but William had a thirst for knowledge. Using old library books and scrap materials, he built a windmill to generate electricity for his home. At just 14 years old, he brought light to his village literally. His innovation gained international attention, and he eventually earned a scholarship to study in the US. He authored a memoir titled The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind, which later became a Netflix film. His dream? To bring sustainable energy and education to every rural village in Africa. And he's doing just that. Number 5. From school dropout to steel tycoon, Savjabhai Dhalekia. Born into a farming family in Gujarat, India, Savjabhai Dhalekia dropped out of school by the 4th grade. At 13, he went to work at his uncle's diamond business. With hard work, honesty, and street-smart thinking, he learned the trade inside and out. Years later, he founded Hari Krishna Exports, one of the world's leading diamond polishing companies. His company now exports to more than 75 countries and employs over 8,000 people. Known for gifting his employees houses, cars, and jewelry, Dhalekia is proof that generosity grows from humble beginnings. Number 4. The homeless teen who became a Harvard graduate. Liz Murray's childhood in the Bronx was rough. Her parents were drug addicts, and she was homeless by the age of 15. But instead of giving in to the streets, Liz decided to fight for a better life. She finished high school in just 2 years while living on the streets and earned a scholarship to Harvard. Her story was turned into a film called Homeless to Harvard. Today, she's a motivational speaker and advocate for youth empowerment, using her voice to help others rise from rock bottom. Number 3. The farmer's son who made millions with bamboo bikes, Bernie Riley. In rural Philippines, Bernie Riley noticed a problem. Transportation in poor areas was limited and roads were hard to access. While studying local resources, he discovered that bamboo, abundant and sustainable, could be used to build bikes. Starting with a few handcrafted models, he launched Bambike, which now provides eco-friendly bikes across Southeast Asia. But more importantly, it's creating jobs in underserved communities and promoting sustainable travel. What began as a small idea is now a movement. Number 2. From war-torn childhood to tech success, Tigran Petrosyan. Growing up in Armenia during the tail end of the Soviet Union, Tigran Petrosyan experienced political unrest, food shortages, and war. His family fled to Russia, then Germany, and finally settled in the US when he was a teen. Tigran fell in love with programming. He taught himself code using library books and built small apps and games. Years later, he launched a tech startup that developed educational AI tools, eventually selling the company for millions. Today, he mentors immigrant youth and funds scholarships for tech education. Number 1. From cleaning houses to changing the world, Cristina Martinez. Cristina Martinez crossed the US-Mexico border undocumented, working as a cleaner and line cook in restaurants. Her dream? To one day be a chef. She faced countless rejections, discrimination, and legal challenges, but she never gave up. Eventually, she opened South Philly Barbacoa, serving traditional Mexican dishes and honoring her roots. Her restaurant became a massive success, and she was awarded a James Beard Award. Today, she's an outspoken advocate for undocumented workers in the food industry. These stories prove one powerful truth. You don't need privilege, pedigree, or perfect circumstances to create something extraordinary. All you need is resilience, belief, and the courage to keep going when life hits hardest. Because success isn't always about being the smartest or the luckiest, it's about being relentless when the odds are stacked against you. You may not know these names like Musk, Gates, or Oprah, but maybe that's the point. Maybe the world is filled with countless stories of quiet courage, of people changing the world in ways that never make the news. But now you know, and maybe your story is next. If these stories inspired you, share this with someone who needs a reminder that where you start doesn't define where you end up. And don't forget to subscribe for more untold tales of greatness from around the globe.